Hola, Crocoduck Army! A couple weeks ago, our dear leader announced that we will in fact build that wall and signed an executive order to that effect. His wall has about a 0% chance of actually being built to anywhere near the scope that he's promised, given the somewhere between $15 and $30 billion price tag, among other reasons. Even many Republican lawmakers have already said this is a non-starter, and the executive order by itself is basically a written wish with a signature. On a side note, weren't Republicans complaining about Obama's use of executive orders just a few months ago? Anyway, now that Trump has apparently made executive orders great again, he's also still trying to get Mexico to pay for the wall. First, they floated the idea of a 20% import tax, which is laughable because middle schoolers who pay the slightest attention will tell you that the American consumers would simply pay for that. And how would it be right for us to bully Mexico into paying for it in the first place? The basic premise behind getting Mexico to pay for the wall, besides being something that he can act like a big macho man about, is that illegal immigration is Mexico's fault. This sounds suspiciously similar to every victim-blaming excuse ever uttered before someone is then treated poorly. Mexico is a developing country with a per capita GDP of less than a sixth that of the United States. The economic situation has improved slightly over the decades, but low oil prices have been taking their toll the last couple years. One of the biggest obstacles to Mexico's economic progress is the drug trade, with the violence and instability that the drug wars bring, as well as the money and effort it takes to try to keep it under control. Ridiculous drug policies in the U.S. are a major cause of those drug wars, because the U.S. is the main driver of demand. I applaud the Mexican president for calling Trump's bluff and canceling their meeting. Starve the trolls of the attention they crave. Then we have the other big issue from the first few weeks of the Trump administration, which is the travel ban for 7 majority Muslim countries. This travel ban was so ham-fisted and amateurish that many people from those countries who were already granted visas or already had green cards to live and work permanently in the U.S. were detained, and some were even sent back to their countries of origin. This sparked large protests, and a judge temporarily halted the executive order. Then, of course, Trump attacked the judge in one of his typical Twitter outbursts, a George W. Bush appointee who was confirmed by the Senate unanimously, by the way. The countries were all suspiciously ones Trump had no business dealings with, and were also not countries whose citizens caused any deaths in the U.S., so it had little to do with security. It was just some red meat for the xenophobes and cowards of his base. These two issues have been the central thrust of Trump's drive to make America great again, making sure to keep those scary brown people out who are destroying your country. You only need to listen to the conservative apologists for Trump's policies to know what this is about. It's clip after clip of Bill or Hillary Clinton or Obama or some other Democrat talking about immigration or terrorism as a problem that needs to be solved. Conspicuously absent from those speeches is anyone referring to Mexicans as rapists or drug dealers, or saying that Mexico will pay for a wall, or that our already strict vetting process is inadequate to keep us safe, or that refugees are a danger to our country. These are all things Trump did. It's an object lesson in the logical fallacy of false equivalence to make them feel better about how little they care about their fellow humans. I try to be nice and generous to people regarding their feelings and motivations, but I'm done sugarcoating it. But before you decide what all of my feelings are on the subject, I will explain. We do have a right as a nation to control our borders. I am not in favor of uncontrolled, limitless immigration, and almost nobody who opposes these idiotic walls and travel bans are either. People who don't agree on much, like Pope Francis and Dick Cheney, John McCain and Chuck Schumer, Condoleezza Rice and Elizabeth Warren, all oppose the travel ban. These measures are worthless for security and send the wrong message. This is Trump positioning himself as the guy who can keep us safe and trying to increase our fear of brown people to improve his political position. I'm not buying what he's selling, and you shouldn't either. Is your fear getting in the way? Well, next time I go to the Middle East, I'll let you know if you want to pay your way and come with me. I am 100% serious on this, and I'll protect you from the scary Muslims. We'll make sure there's no repeat of the Bowling Green massacre, right, Kellyanne?
And they were the masterminds behind the Bowling Green massacre. Most people don't know that because it didn't get covered.
The Bowling Green massacre that Conway mentioned never happened.